Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. This is Lawrence Dvorak with Customer Engagement Technology World. Welcome. We're very, very excited to have you here and excited for the show in San Francisco next month. Glad you could join us for this webinar, really designed to help you understand better ways to maximize not only your involvement as an exhibitor at CET World, but also some tips and tricks that Jefferson will share and teach you. Really focused on how you can maximize your exhibit program no matter what show you're doing, but some metrics to put into place, some ideas and ways to train your staff and really maximize your trade show exhibit. The slide you're looking at right now just has a couple of highlights for the show that is upcoming next month. We've taken the time to hit a few key points that can impact each of you as an exhibitor in your quest to have the most successful show possible. Just quickly, 2 keynote presentations hitting both the end user markets such as Six Flags, who will tell us all about what's going on at their amusement park and how they're engaging with their customers through their digital media technologies and what's on the horizon for them, as well as RMG Networks, who will talk heavily about the digital out-of-home market and ad-based networks and how those can be successful. Throughout the show, we will have 3 separate tours going on around the exhibit hall that are designed to take attendees to exhibitors' booths and give them a first-hand experience with exhibitors. If you're interested in getting involved in those tours, feel free to email me, or if you click on the link that is there, there's more information as well. For everyone who doesn't have it, my email is just lawrence@jdevents.com. We're really pleased. For the first time ever, the all-new Speed 2 is being offered at CET World. That is the program put out by Lyle Bunn about getting up and running for the digital signage training and out-of-home market. Only at CET World can attendees and exhibitors go to these sessions in this training at absolutely no cost to you. As exhibitors, your exhibitor badge will get you into every session that we are running. So if you see anything in the agenda that's of interest, please go attend. It's included, and there are no additional upcharges for you. So Speed is all new, and again, only free for everyone at CET World. Anywhere else that Lyle does this program is an added expense for attendees. The Industry Excellence Awards this year are being run by the Digital Screen Media Association. That is the link to the awards program, and I know that applications are still being accepted, so get your projects in, get promoted, and hopefully get honored as one of the best programs and projects of the year, and utilize that in all of your promotions for your company. We have several receptions during the course of the event that allow you to have networking opportunities with everybody there. They are open to all attendees. The first is our grand opening reception, which is on Wednesday, April 27th in the exhibit hall, and so please take that time to have a drink and get to know more people at the show. That is sponsored by Shea 2, and they will be our host for that affair. And then after that, we will be going over to the Intercontinental Hotel to the Pacific Terrace for the VukuNet party. And again, everybody is welcome to attend that party. That's going to be a great event outdoors, outdoor feel on the terrace, and have a great time that evening. Get a real good chance to network with everybody that's at the show. So please take advantage of those opportunities. For those of you who are tweeting and are tweeters, please remember the hashtag is #CETW, and please include that in everything that you do tweet about. We would greatly appreciate it. So those are just some of the opportunities that are going on and about the show for you to extend your product awareness, your networking opportunities, and really maximize some of your involvement at the show. There will be some other opportunities that we'll get to later in the program, but for now, let me turn it back over to Jefferson. Jefferson Davis is a trade show expert who has spent considerable time in the art of teaching exhibitors how to maximize their experience at each event, and has some really good methodologies and ideas. So With that, I will turn it back over to you, Jefferson.
Thank you, Lawrence, and thanks for telling us about some of the cool stuff you guys are doing. You know, I've been around a lot of shows, and the fact that you guys allow exhibitors to, with the badge, go into the educational sessions is a extremely valuable resource, and hopefully a lot of exhibitors take advantage of that, because, you know, I can't think of a better place to go and immerse and kind of hear what's being said and what people are thinking about when it comes to your products. So make sure as exhibitors listening here that you take advantage of this bundle of opportunities that CET World gives you, because a lot of shows don't do that. They would charge you and want to nickel and dime you for all that. So you got quite a package here. And you also have a really committed team over at JD Events. I've been working with them for a while now, and you know, the reason they do all this is real simple. They believe absolutely that they're not successful unless you, the exhibitor, is successful. And, you know, we're all so busy and we're running from show to show and we're doing all this. And so what we want to do is try to bring you the latest and the best thinking at the right time so you can apply it, so you can get tremendous results from your investment in JD Events, okay? The first part was a little bit about some of the show ops. Let's talk about face here, okay? This session is really going to be about, since you signed up today, it's going to be about this face-to-face contact. And so it's really, we're going to deal with the two sides of the equation. First is, how do we successfully attract enough of the right people? And there's a mouthful in that statement, is successful and enough. How much is enough, and who are the right people? And then how do we effectively interact with them at the crazy show environment? And so we're going to really hit both sides of this today. This is a session that your sales and marketing staff would want to view. So if you're the trade show manager responsible for booking the booth, and you really want to pass the link onto this, we're going to record this. Make sure you have your entire sales management team view this, and anybody around sales, because both ends of this we're going to speak to the marketing and the sales end. And a lot of the things I'll talk about on the interaction skills, your booth staff can benefit tremendously from. So let's go ahead and really, you know, jump into topic here, okay? I titled this session About Face, okay? And the reason I say that is because that's what trade shows are really about. When you think about all the benefits and all the value you get by exhibiting, what it really comes down to is what makes this media click, what makes it unique, what makes it valuable, what makes it effective is face-to-face contact. So I want you, we're on page 2 in your workbook. You know, I want the first thought for you to think about right now. You're staring down the barrel. You've got about 7 weeks until showtime. I want you to think about how important to your company, how important is face-to-face contact in how you open doors that ultimately lead to new business, and how important is it in how you keep the competition outside of the door, how you retain existing customers. Would most of you say that that face-to-face contact is critical, very important, important? Nowadays, I would say, you know, with so many competitive products and the ease of researching companies via the internet, listen to this carefully. One of the big reasons why people come to trade shows is to evaluate the people behind the companies, the people behind the products, the people behind the brands. Okay, so when we say it's about face, this face-to-face contact is absolutely critical. Okay, so the next piece of the puzzle here is that if we were to ask your sales team, are they finding it easier or are they finding it harder to get quality face time out in the field, what do you think they would tell us? Well, I've been working now for 20 years now as a trainer consultant with companies. I've personally trained over 100,000 salespeople, and I can tell you the trend over the last 5, 7, 9 years is that it is harder than ever to get face time out in the field. Okay, so the trade show done properly really represents, you know, a tremendous opportunity for us to get face time if we're prepared, you know, if we're doing the right things. We can't just show up and kind of roll our exhibit out on the floor and send our staff in there and stand around and wait and hope, but we've got to be proactive in how we approach this game of exhibiting. So that this face-to-face is critical. This is what we really need, what we really want from the show. You know, one of the things when I first did my first trade show back in 1985 in Moscone Center in San Francisco, you know, I remember kind of after that show, had a really good show, but I remember some things that struck me, and I bundled them into what I call the exhibiting edge. It's these dynamics that make this opportunity so incredible, again, when we do it right. Okay, the first one is that where the customer, the prospect, they come to you. Okay, you know, they leave their place of business. They're flying in, they're driving in, they're paying money to be here. So the dynamics shift. You know, when we're out there calling on them, trying to engage them at their place of business, we've got a certain set of dynamics. But when they walk onto that exhibit floor, when those doors swing open on CET World, and they walk in there, they are coming to us, and that changes everything. And the second key to me, this is real, you know, this is the real critical insight here, is that, you know, when they're back at their business, doing what they got to do to get through the day, getting their job done, putting out their fires, dealing with their issues, are they really sitting around with their mind wide open to newer, better, faster, cheaper, more productive ways of doing things? The answer is no. For the most part, like you, like me, like all of us, man, we're just trying to get through the day. So there's something magical that happens when the doors swing open and they walk onto that exhibit floor. That mind opens up. And because there's more space, okay, this might be your only chance to get that foot in the door. So we've got a relatively open mind. And number three, it's on your turf. Your exhibit, I want you to think of your exhibit exactly as a smart retailer thinks about their store, about what they show, where they show it, what information and messaging, how easy they make it to enter. It's your turf. You get to decide, and you get to influence what they see, what they hear, what they do, what they take, okay? And so that's a tremendous advantage. You know, there are some people out over the years who have told me, well, Jefferson, the thing I like about shows is that we're on neutral ground. Well, I don't agree with that in any way, shape, or form. There ain't nothing neutral about my exhibit. My exhibit is designed absolutely to engage, first to interrupt you, grab your attention, and then second to engage you relative to the topic of what we do, then to educate you, and then to get you to agree to take some visible next step. Okay, so it's your turf, okay? Tremendous thought needs to be given to that whole piece of the exhibit. And fourth, the environment. You know, the trade show environment is hyper conducive to both talking and, for some, doing business. So this is a real exciting opportunity, and the reason I'm giving you this up front here is that I really want you, and I'm imagining that many of you logged in today are in the marketing side of the business, but I also want you to get this information over to the sales side, the vice president of sales, okay? Get it over to the regional or the district sales management, sales managers, and filtered all the way down to the salespeople that will be coming and working the show, okay? Because your people are going to make or break your success, and we'll talk about that as we go on. Okay, so there's some dynamics that make this really work, okay? I want you to think about efficiency here for a moment. And you may wonder, why are you talking about these things right now? Because for some of you, you're under pressure to justify the investment. Some of you are trying to figure out, how do we really make sense of this big investment of financial and human capital? And in this content is some extremely powerful pieces. The efficiency factor, okay, is something else to think about. If you were to ask your sales management, if you were to ask them, hey, you know, out in the field on a great day, how many actual face-to-face customer or prospect interactions is our sales team having? You're going to find it to be in the 2 to 3 range. Okay, McGraw-Hill, the most recent study I found suggests that the average salesperson only sees 2.3 living, breathing bodies a day. Now, I know a lot of you as companies from marketing and from a business development standpoint, you know, you're trying to grow your business. You're trying to increase your customer base. You're trying to grow revenue. Well, if your average salesperson's only getting 2 to 3 contacts a day out in the field, you know, is that the fast boat or is that the slow boat? You tell me. Let's lay it next to at a trade show. Okay, you put your staffer in the booth here, they interact with 3, 4, 5 visitors on an average hour. We're talking 24 to 40 interactions per hour, per staffer per day. Now lay those two numbers next to one another. 2 to 3 a day, 24 to 40 a day. You're starting to see what's going on here with this efficiency factor. It's an incredible opportunity, but a lot of us exhibitors, we're not taking full advantage of it because A, we lack the perspectives, and B, we're not executing the practices. So some of this I'm giving you right now is perspective stuff that will help influence the way you see, because when you change the way you see, that's when behaviors will change, okay? Now, let's talk money here for a moment. I bet you if I were to ask every exhibitor logged in today, trade shows, expensive or cheap? I'll bet 100% of the hands would not only go up expensive, but would shoot up all the way to the ceiling, okay? Well, it sure feels like that when all you see is what you spend, okay? Now, I've got some metrics up on the screen here. The most recent research I could find, a blend of 2008 and 2010, tells us that the average cost to put a body in front of a body out in the field is $596. Now, there are two metrics on the screen: cost per attraction and cost per visitor reached. Here's what an attraction means. The person walks up to your exhibit, they look at your exhibit, and they process it. And by process it, they basically go, what do you do and do I care? They maybe enter the booth, they maybe don't, but here's the big key. They are not physically engaged by a staffer. Average cost, $159. Now, cost per visitor reached. The visitor walks down the aisle, crosses the carpet line, enters your booth, and interacts with one of your staff. Cost per visitor reached. Okay, now what are you seeing on the screen? I want you to look at these numbers laid next to one another and tell me if you're seeing what I'm seeing here. I'm seeing the ability to do what? Cut the cost of putting a body in front of a body by a significant amount. And in my corporate environment with my product, service, staff, corporate identity all around me. Okay, so this is the cost effectiveness piece. Now, grab your pens here. It's time to do a quick formula. This number, if you don't know this number, I've mentioned this number before. If you don't know this number and you're not trying to execute around this, you're flying blind and you're almost handicapped when it comes to exhibiting. So what I want you to do is don't use my numbers. You're going to use your numbers to physically calculate this. We are on page 3 in your e-workbook on the second point. Now, okay, customer engagement technology world has 14 exhibiting hours in the show over 2 days, okay? So you've got about 7 hours per day. Okay, that is your playing field, okay? Now, you can't change those number of hours. You can work the golden hours in the morning. You can work the entertaining hours in the evening. But what you want to do when it comes to a trade show is optimize the show from your exhibit and the floor, and anything that happens in the golden hours in the morning and in the entertaining hours in the evening, anything that happens out there is like the icing on the cake. Okay, you with me on this? Now, this second number, please listen carefully to this second number. The number of booth staff, FTE means full-time equivalent. I want you to write down right now, under 14, how many human beings will be standing in your exhibit consistently at any given point for the purpose of talking to visitors. Write your number down. Rule of thumb, 50 square feet of space per exhibit staffer. If you're in a 10 by 10 booth, you have space for 2, maybe, notice the long drawl on maybe 3. Okay, you put any more than that in a 10 by 10 and you got a problem. You know what the problem is? No space for who? Who? The visitors, the attendees, the customers. Okay, now, so go ahead and write down your full-time equivalent and multiply the two numbers together. This is your the number of hours that you've got available for doing what? Putting your staff face-to-face with visitors. Okay, so you got 64 hours in this example. Okay, now, next piece of the puzzle, and let me explain this. I want you to pick a conservative, let me emphasize that word, conservative number of interactions per hour per staffer. 3 on an average hour. Conservative. 4, somewhat conservative. 5 per hour per staffer, maybe a little on the aggressive side. Or maybe not, depending on how well you do the attraction marketing piece of this, okay? So pick a number that feels conservative. I don't want you shooting pie in the sky here, okay? Let's go for reality, okay? The numbers don't lie. These numbers paint an amazing story that you're going to get right now. Now, multiply the number of hours times the conservative interactions per hour per staffer, and you have got the magic number, okay? We call it your exhibit interaction capacity, okay? This is called the opportunity. This is called what you're really buying, okay? Now, you look at that number, okay? 192, 320, or whatever your number is, and you lay that next to the total show attendance, and you realize that even if you utilize 100% of your interaction capacity, you are only scratching the surface of the total audience that attends the show. Okay, and that should make you feel really good, because your marketing job, okay, let me explain that. Right now, with 7 weeks to go time, your job from the sales and marketing side is to get in the mind and get on the agenda of enough of the right people. Now, the question, how much is enough? Enter your exhibit interaction capacity. It is the ticket. That's how much, okay? Now, I could go on deeper on this, because we can set lead goals, we can set proposal goals, we can set sales closure. I can go all the way down to revenue goals off this formula. But for now, what I want you to get is that you've got the capacity to put your company identity, product, services, and staff face-to-face in a one-to-one manner with that many people. Don't just show up and hope that that many people, A, get to the show, B, pass your booth, and C, happen to fall into your booth. Reach out and touch somebody, okay? Touch these people, get in their mind, get on their agenda. That's the game here, okay? You do this part well, and I'm telling you, everything else takes care of itself. Now, I also want to help you start calculating. If you're not calculating this metric, you know, we've got e-courses up on the show website. We got webinar replays, and I'm still finding when I ask exhibitors in this show, they do not know what their CPI is. If you don't know what your CPI is, you're missing the target here, okay? This is an easy formula to track. So here we go. Let's say, write down what you think your total show investment is going to be in this show. So go ahead and do that right now, everybody. Take a moment, write down your total show. And we're on page 3 in the third area. Write that number down. Now, look at your exhibit interaction capacity from up above. And I want you to divide that number into your total show investment. And there you go. Cost per interaction. Okay? Now, look at my screen, and then I want you to look at your numbers. Okay? So what you're paying here, you know, we say shows so expensive. Man, these things are just unbelievable. Really? If I called you on the telephone and I told you that I had one single buyer, they're interested in what you offer. Here's what I want you to do. I want you to set up a professional display. I want you to have your product services there in a runtime demo situation. I want you to have your best staff available to interact with them. I'm going to drive them to your business. I'm going to leave them on your doorstep for as long as they want to stay, and I'm going to take them back and drive them back home when they want to go. If you absolutely believed that I had one, would you pay me the amount of money to bring that person to your business, yes or no? Okay, I can't hear you, but I can feel the rumblings coming through the line. I hear a lot of, oh, yeah, and how many of those people would you really want me to bring you? And your answer would be pretty self-explanatory there, as many as I could. That is what we're talking about here, okay? So if you're not using exhibit interaction capacity and you're not using CPI to get control of this trade show game, you have no reason for not doing so now. Both of these are easy, simple formulas to run, and they start to unlock the door on how to make trade shows really work, okay? Now, go back again. You just calculated, if you're working this with me, you just calculated based on your interaction capacity, you calculated your cost per interaction. I want you to lay that number next to the cost per visitor reached on the screen, which is 261. And I want you to notice what you're seeing. Those of you out there, if you're in a 10 by 10, a 10 by 20 exhibit, your cost per interaction should be somewhere in the $50 to $80 range. Okay? So listen carefully. What value are you delivering for your company right now if you did nothing else? You can show and tell your boss, your owner, your manager, your financial controller, VP, whoever, that what are you doing? You're delivering face-to-face contact for significantly less than what the company's paying to get it in the field. You are what we call a value generator. Make sure people know this in your company, because I'm telling you, they don't know it. I will bet that for most of you, your finance, whoever, whether it's a CFO or a vice president of finance or a controller or whoever manages the money, I'll bet they look at your trade show program and go, man, that's a lot of money going over there. Why are we spending that? Why? This is why we're spending it. And, oh, by the way, we're not spending it. We are investing it, okay? So this cost effectiveness, okay, is important to see. So we've kind of gone in and we've done a little bit of work so far on kind of what we're really buying, face-to-face contact, how much we physically have the capacity for, and what we're really paying. And I'm imagining for many of you listening, a lot of light bulbs have popped over the last few minutes. Okay, now the second piece of this puzzle is you've got to get absolutely clear about who you want to see. Because you know your exhibit interaction capacity, you know one of the cool things about that? That's all you can handle. You know, you've got to be selective. You don't want just any Joe that happens to be milling up and down the aisles and is bored and has nowhere else to stop and is carrying the bag, the trick-or-treater. You want that guy just falling into your booth and tying your staff up for 10 or 15 minutes to talking about something that's going nowhere? I don't think you want that either. Okay? So I want you to get deadly specific. Who do you want to attract and interact with? And drill this down by the types of companies, okay, what their principal business is, what business, you know, what they do, and then the job functions and titles within these companies, okay? And then think about geography. Maybe you only sell and service certain geographical areas. Maybe you can only support. Maybe you can only deliver to certain areas. And think about size and how that factors in. Some of us are small companies who want the huge whale accounts, but truthfully, we don't have the capacity to handle them. We better be careful, you know, getting in over our head. On the flip side, some of us, you know, are looking for mid-market. So how does size factor in? Okay, so what I want you to do is kind of create a ideal visitor profile. And this is a broad brush thing that you can use, okay, to say who do we want to fill those 182 or whatever number of interactions. And make sure that you're using the CET World online event planner, and make sure you're using the pre-registered attendee lists, okay, to build and communicate with this. Lawrence, is there anything that you'd want to add or color or tell us a little bit more about the event planner or the lists?
Well, a couple of weeks before the show, every exhibitor will receive an email from either myself or Mark Freed, and that'll include the list usage form, so you can get that list from us. It's the pre-registered attendee list, name, title, company, and mailing address for you to take advantage of. So please, I would highly recommend taking advantage of that, not just to send the pre-show marketing, which is incredibly important, but also to go through and defining exactly who you want to meet with at the show, and then, again, getting back with Mark or myself to see if there are creative ways we can suggest to do that. But really use that to identify some of these things that Jefferson laid out here. The online event planner is a tool that is open for exhibitors and registered attendees only. It is kind of like your intranet to them. There will be ways for you to post product information as well as messaging that goes out to them. We'll cover some of this in the marketing opportunity slides as well, and you can also request a one-on-one call with one of us to help you understand how to best use that. But it allows you to connect directly with all of the registered attendees through this tool that we've created that they use, and they plan out their sessions, and they plan out their day, and they plan out their meetings, and use the calendar that's in there as well. So it allows them to plot out their day, and the best way to become part of their day is to really get involved and really use that event planner to market yourself to everybody, to market what products and solutions you've got, to market, if you're speaking, what sessions, to market programs or special events you're running or anything like that that goes out to the attendees on a regular basis. So we can get into it a little bit more, but you know, a lot of that can be done one-off with everybody to get some specific information in your hands as well.
Great, great. Thank you, Lawrence. Hey, I want to do a quick poll, okay? You're going to see the poll come up right now. What I want to determine is, does your company, those of you who are logged in with me today, do you currently utilize the free passes that JD Events makes available to you? And do you use these for customers and prospects? And I'm going to show you a formula in a moment that is going to rock your world. But go ahead right now, everybody that's online here, please click one of those. Yes, you're using them. No, you're not, or you weren't even aware that this program existed. And let's take a look, see what's happening. I've got about 70% of the votes in here. I can't see your individual, but I do want everybody who's logged in here to click the radio dial button that applies. We're pushing the 80% mark. A few of you, if you're looking at your emails, stop that for a moment. This is a critical topic here we're addressing, and come back with me. Okay, I'll give you just another moment. We're at about 85%. Anybody who's logged in has not voted, please do so like right now, and I'm going to close it up in 1 sec. Okay, so let's take a look. Let's see what's happening with the results here. 46% of you said yes, congratulations. I'm going to show you a formula to tighten that in a moment. 13% said no. I'm going to ask you to seriously reevaluate why you're not. And this is quite surprising, Lawrence. Would you agree that 42% of the viewership, they weren't even aware this program existed?
Yes, but we'll get into that and explain it all to everybody so that they can understand exactly how they can take advantage of all this, because it's really a very easy opportunity for you to invite your prospects, your clients, your customers, and for those who are prospects to preset those appointments and schedule your day to make it more efficient and effective at the show.
Excellent. Now, hey, I want to share with you guys right now a very specific strategy, and I'm going to give you literally step-by-step walking orders when you leave this webcast. Please do not underestimate the power of this. I've been involved as a consultant trainer with my clients. We've pulled a combined over $500 million in results from trade shows. And I'm telling you, the centerpiece, one of the biggest things that has helped pull this has been this CPS model. So let me explain the CPS model. Okay, think of this like a triangle. On page 4 in your workbook, you're seeing a blank triangle. Let me talk to all 3 sides of the triangle. The base I have in red, and that is your customers. And here's why I put it in red. You should never, ever, let me repeat that, never, ever go into a key trade show like Customer Engagement Technology World without reaching out and touching your customers relative to this marketplace, whether you think they're coming or not. Okay? Now, I can hear the grumbling already. Some of you saying, Jefferson, why would I want to invite my customers to the show? My answer is simple. If they end up at this show because of an invitation from a competitor and you did nothing to communicate and acknowledge, you got problems. Okay? Let me say it another way. You've got to know that every buyer today is continually, at least on an annual basis, reevaluating their vendors and source of supply. And guess where they're doing that reevaluation at? At key trade shows like Customer Engagement Technology World. So here's your first step. I want you to create a list of all customers, active and inactive, okay, that are relative to this marketplace. And I want you to go out and invite them whether you think they're coming or not. Here are 4 reasons to get them to the show and to your booth. Number 1, relationship management. It's another touch point. 2, probe for additional opportunity. A lot of you listening have tremendous cross-sell and upsell opportunities that you're not seizing because like most of us, you're starting to take your customers for granted, okay? There's tremendous opportunity lying within your existing customer base. Third, change. Keep your ears to the ground for change. And fourth, advocacy, okay? I know you've got customers that would gladly sing the praises of how great you are and how great your products are. You got to get these people to the show. Start there. Next, you see the right side of the triangle, the pyramid? It's green. You know why I have it in green? That's where the quick cash flow is. Prospects. You are already in the sales cycle with them. You have one primary objective for bringing them to the show. Advance them to the next step. Answer one more question. Resolve one more issue. Demonstrate one more capability. Meet one more influencer. Sign a contract. Okay? You might not think it's possible. I went in with a client. We pulled $1.8 million off the show floor at $300,000 a clip in prospects we had hanging out. We used the show to bring the deal to closure. Okay? And I've done this many, many, many times. Third group, suspects. Now, a suspect is going to be a profile match, what we talked about before. You have one objective. Open the door. Get a foot in the door. Now, here's your game plan. I want you to go out to your sales team, and I want you to ask them to submit a list of X number of customers, X number of prospects, X number of suspects. For each customer, you ask them to set a specific objective based on one of these four reasons. For each prospect, ask them to identify where they are in the sales cycle and what the next step is and how can we use the show to advance to that next step. Then ask them to have a minimum of 3 direct contacts with these people leading up to showtime, and be sure you contact your accounting exec at JD Events and get those passes, okay? Those passes are worth a lot of money. They're available to you for free, and use them. And I tell you what, if you only did the customer prospect formula, I will bet you hands down you'll have one of your best shows ever. When you fold in the suspect, new people, you're trying to open the door, you're going to put this way over the top. So, game plan, 3 lists, X number names, 5 to 10 names minimum each per rep. Specific objectives for customer prospects, 3 personal touches between now and showtime, and offer and give the free pass. If you do this, you are beginning to populate. You're beginning to, your interaction capacity will be utilized by who? The right people, okay? Powerful strategy. I hope you'll jump on that, okay? So let me find out, do a real quick poll here. I want to find out what's going on with what media we're using to market our exhibit. You're going to see a poll come up right now, and this is a check all that apply. Okay, what media are you using to market your exhibit in the show? Do you do direct mail? If so, click it. Do you use email? Click it. You using the telephone? Click it. You doing advertising in trade pubs, print? You doing web advertising? Click it. You sponsoring things around the show? Smart money? Click it. Okay. Go ahead and click as many of those as apply, and let's just take a look. And it'll be interesting to see. I want to see where the bulk of this effort's going. Okay, we're at about 60% of votes. Fastest fingers, everybody. Click, click, click. Let's go. Get them in there. 63. I want to see this one jump up around that 80% range where we were before. Some of you, maybe your attention has drifted. Come back. 70%. A few more. Come on, get a few more of those in. All right, we're at about the 80% mark. Let me close and share the results so everybody can see what we're doing. Now, check this out. Only 10% of us are using direct mail, while 90% of us are using email. 67% are adding telephone. 29% are doing some form of advertising and sponsorship. Okay, here's my initial knee-jerk reaction to this. 90% are using email. Email, while certainly is a piece of an integrated campaign, if you rely almost exclusively on email, you've got problems. Okay, here's one. Are you tracking the open rate on your emails? If so, you're going to find out that your open rate is probably not very good. The other thing about email, too, is that we're all getting so much of it that it's overused, and it has an annoyance factor nowadays. Now, I'm not saying don't use it. I'm saying be very cautious of how much and be very relevant in how you use it. Direct mail, only 10%. Let me say something there. because of the reduced mailing, the clutter is down. And guess what is working again? Direct mail. Why? Most exhibitors have pulled away from it. Hey, when the crowd runs that way, run the other way. Okay, mail, especially oversized 5.5 by 8.5, 4-color, very nicely done postcards, are an extremely cost-effective and powerful tool, and only 10% of us are using it. Why? Because email is cheap. Why? Because it's free. Why? Because we can bang them as many times as we want. Well, I hope you'll consider the intrusion factor. I hope you'll consider your open rates, and I hope you'll also consider, the annoyance factor that's coming with email, and balance your campaign out. Okay, a good campaign will be integrated. Okay, so let's talk marketing here, and we got to pick up our pace. We're finding today that 80% of exhibitors do little or no pre-marketing. Too many exhibitors do what I call rent space, show up, and hope. They hope enough people get to the show. They hope they get on the floor. They hope they pass their booth. They hope they stop. That's a lot to hope for, okay? Take charge of your reality, okay? Next, there's 5 reasons why you got to market your presence today in shows. The competition is fierce, okay? And you're not just competing, by the way, with your direct product or service. You're competing with all exhibitors, okay? The buyer's time at show is valuable and limited. 3, most of the buyers and attendees are arriving with an agenda of who they want to see. The average buyer or attendee is only going to stop and visit about 26 to 31 booths, and half of those stops are pre-planned. Let that sink in for a moment here, okay? So to succeed today, you've got to use both targeted, pre, and at. Again, the goal, in the mind, on the agenda. If you catch nothing else out of today, catch your exhibit interaction capacity, catch your cost per interaction, and catch that line, in the mind, on the agenda. Okay? That is the key. Okay, Lawrence, give us a very quick kind of run through here of some of the stuff that's available to exhibitors.
Yeah, thank you, Jefferson. We started to talk about some of this earlier, and we do have several complementary marketing opportunities and programs that are available for exhibitors. Again, the only thing that this takes from your end is time. Ways to drive additional traffic to your booth, to promote your brand and your products and your services to these pre-qualified buyers that are in attendance. We've said over and over to our exhibitors that we are very focused on delivering real buyers to you. Let us help you get even more into your booth, get those people out, and really hit some of those folks that you have been trying to hit and engage with. And looking back at the statistics that you put up earlier, and if you could flip this to the next slide, Jefferson, with almost half of you not being aware of these programs, these are some of the programs that we've got. We do allow you to invite unlimited numbers of complimentary passes and prospects. We have programs that are designed both to offer complimentary exhibit hall passes to prospects as well as complimentary full conference passes. There is an entire section on our website about this, as well as you'll see Melissa's email on the bottom there. If you send an email to Melissa, she will be able to walk through with you many of these opportunities and how you can quick and easily take advantage of them. The deadline for the next phase of the program and getting those lists in is this Friday, so I implore you to do just that. Take a look back at the leads you've received from trade shows you've attended in the past 12 to 18 months. Take a look at the ones that are lukewarm or cool or haven't gotten to the point where they're ready to close, and let us get a hold of them. Let us get those people in the door so you can reschedule meetings and face-to-face time with them. Jefferson alluded to earlier utilizing the show as an opportunity to put closure to clients and to folks who you are very close to getting to sign on the dotted line. I had been in the show a few months ago, and I talked with an exhibitor, and I asked them how the show went, and he said it was great. We saw a number of people, and I can point to several millions of dollars in business that were going to be done there. And I said, would you have closed the business if you didn't invite them and didn't see them at the show? And his answer was probably, but it would have taken an awful lot longer. This way we were able to get in front of them, let them see everything we've got right there. Their mind was open. They were actively engaged with us to take a look at everything. Nobody else was pulling at them. There was no computer, no email, no instant message, none of that. We had their attention, and we used it to close them right then and there. And so I suggest that you look at all of the prospects and leads that you might have, and let us work with you to get those people in the door and in front of you and preset those meetings. For the 46% of you who said yes, you are aware of it, please do it more. Keep getting those lists in. Talk to Melissa, talk to myself. Let us help you get those programs developed. What we have found is that the companies that do actively take part in this end up with preset meetings, and a significant number of them, to the point of keeping your sales staff busy for the 2 days before you've even walked in the door. So let us help you get face-to-face with those prospects, and let your salespeople do what they need to do to turn those prospects into customers. The URL right there, cetworld.com/marketingops.asp, is where everything is located. But again, if you send an email to melissa@jdevents.com, she will be able to personally touch base with you and make sure that we get everything going that way. So those are just a couple of them, and like I said, please take advantage of these opportunities. They do work, and they have continued to work for exhibitors who take advantage of them and be able to turn those into real qualified long meetings and help you end up closing business. So let us help you.
All right. Yeah, thanks, Lawrence. Hey, this would be a moment if anyone has questions, go ahead and submit. I'm going to tear through this next piece of the interaction. And again, you'll be able to come back and replay this with your staff. So let me jump there, and then we'll take questions in a moment. Hey, best people forward. You know, trade shows are not the place where we send the guy because he happens to be closest to the venue and we're going to save a little bit of money on air. He or she may not be the best person in the booth. You want best people forward. There are 8 specific attributes that make up an effective staffer. They like working shows. They're a friendly, engaging person. They're proactive, you know, not just standing around waiting for life to come to them. They know their stuff. They're a good questioner and a great listener. They've got the ability to hit their points concisely. They take good information and they get leads. I would ask you to take these 8 attributes and have your current exhibit staff rate themselves on a 1 to 3. A 1 means that's me. A 2 is so-so. A 3 is not really. And if you find that they've got gaps or weaknesses in 2 or more of these areas, you've got a staffing issue that you have to deal with. Okay, so put your best people forward. Let me tear through 4 interaction skills that every single booth staffer needs to know and be able to execute to be effective in this environment. Number 1 is how to get into interactions. There's only 2 scenarios, really. The visitor walks up and into your booth. The better you do with your pre-marketing, the better your exhibit's designed, the more of that you'll see. The other scenario is you have to kind of engage them. They're passing by in the aisles, and you've got to get their attention. Okay, there's a technique we call SOS. It's this simple. Stand up, don't sit down, open your body posture, not closed, put a smile on your face, SOS, and look towards someone. I'm telling you, this is simple. I'm telling you, very few booth staffers do it. Okay, the SOS technique is how we cause, and once they notice you, and it's hard not to notice you because so few exhibitors are doing the SOS, they feel obligated to look at your exhibit. And then they'll ask themselves, what do you do, and do I have any interest? Okay, and that technique alone will get a lot more looks at your booth and get a lot more people in. Now, when they walk up to the exhibit on their own, there's a few things that need to happen. Number 1, greet them like you're glad to see them. Second, welcome them. Physically say the name of your company. Hey, welcome to Competitive Edge. Third, meet them. Introduce yourself. Hey, my name's Jefferson, and you are? And get them to introduce themselves. Ask your staff, do not read names off badges. Okay, there's a lot of assumptions going on when you read a name off a badge. And then finally, just ask a discovery question. So greet them, welcome them, meet them, and ask a discovery question. And that's how to get into interactions. And if you master those skills, you'll have all the booth traffic you can handle. Second, you got to know how to get out of interactions, okay? Sometimes the wrong people, we find out we're talking to someone who has no influence, no need, no money, no hurry, and yet they're willing to stand around and talk us to death. The first way to get out of an interaction is just thank them. Hey, man, I've really enjoyed talking with you. Thanks so much for stopping by. That'll shut her down most times. If that doesn't work, this is where our little tchotchkes and giveaways come into play. Give them a pen. Give them something. use that as a disengaging tool. That doesn't work, ask them for a favor. This is more of a pattern interrupt just to get them to derail their thought process. Hey, I wonder if you could do me a favor. Pause, and you'll notice you've got their time to say, I've got an appointment coming in about 2 minutes. I really enjoyed talking with you. Boom, out. That doesn't work. You could create a tag, like a nonverbal signal in the booth that your staff uses to kind of say, hey, I thanked this guy. I gave him something. I asked him to leave. I asked him for a favor. I'm sorry. He's still here. I can't get rid of him. Help me out. Okay? So getting out of interactions is as important as getting in. Third, write this phrase down. It's not what you tell. It's what you ask. Let me say it again. It's not what you tell. It's what you ask. So you're going to want to really get your staff trained to resist the urge to start talking about your company and the products with any and everybody that walks into the booth. Okay? You're going to want to come up with both interest and situational questions. Here's an example of an interest question. Hey, what brings you to our booth? Here's another example. I noticed you were looking at our blank, whatever your product is. Tell me a little bit about your interest. Interest questions. Situational questions are more about what are you doing in this area now? Who are you working with? What are you trying to change or improve? What's prompting you to look at this? Qualifying questions are going to be more about their influence, budget, time frame, things like that. And open-ended questions, please catch this point. You want to have about three to four, 3 open-ended to 1 close-ended question ratio. Open-ended questions. Tell me about who, what, where, why, when, how. You see, when the visitor's talking, they're creating space for your messaging. Your staff is learning, and they'll stay longer when they're doing the talking instead of your staff. Okay, this is a great exercise. When I do training, companies come in, we actually work through and develop a questions map. So every staffer knows exactly the questions in the sequence and the best phrasing. You can do this on your own. If you need help on it, feel free to call me. This fourth interaction skill, time, information overload, and fatigue limit the attendee's ability to understand and absorb what you're talking about in the booth. The TFBR technique is a way that you can talk about your product services that will deliver maximum persuasive power. First, you tie it back to a stated interest or need. Hey, you told me that you were having a problem with this. Then you state a feature. One of the things you're going to love about our blank is this. And what it'll do for you and your customers and your operation is this. And your reaction question is key. You give the visitor the chance to respond to the message. The reaction question, how does that compare to your current? Or does that seem like it might be a better way to do what you're doing? The reaction question. This is a powerful technique. I'm telling you, not 2 out of 100 in-booth staffers are or know how to use this. If you can build this into your language, it takes 1 bullseye shot. You see, a good presentation won't say everything, but it will say the right things. And it will be concise, it'll be persuasive, it'll be interactive. The TFBR technique will get you there. It takes work. Again, if it's something you want to work on in a one-to-one, feel free to email or call me. Next, qualified leads. A lot of us have a problem with what we're calling leads. You know, we get a swipe and we go, woohoo, got a lead. No, what we really got was a swipe. We hold a contest and they enter. Got a lead? Nope, got a contestant. We put a candy bowl or we have bottled water in the booth. They stop to pick it up. Woo, got a lead. No, we had a hungry, thirsty person. Okay? Really, this is serious business I'm talking about here. Let's define a lead. Information rich and has a commitment from the visitor to take a clear next step. Okay? Now, there's a commitment technique your staff needs to know how to use in the booth, and it's first to make sure that you got a live one here. Say, does this sound like it might be worth taking a closer look at? And then asking about the next step. What do you think our next step should be? Notice that that's a closed-ended question. Does it sound like that's a yes or no because you're looking for a decision? Then on what do you think is an open-ended, and the visitor is helping collaborate on what the next step is. Your commitment to that becomes so much more real. You're going to want to customize your lead capture device and capture more information about visitors and get that commitment to the next step. Okay, so we got to close down. We have gone a little over. Thank you. It looks like almost all of you have stayed in. I apologize. This is a session that you are absolutely going to want to get the link moving around in your company, have your entire booth staff listen to. definitely the second part of this. I know it was quick, but there's a lot of content in that very short run. Okay, so CET World absolutely can be one of your most effective marketing sales media if you do it right. You've got a willing partner that wants to help you to do this. Okay, JD Events will give you, the resources, the knowledge, the support, the access to be as successful as you want to be. Okay, and what you heard here today is not going to make the difference. It's going to be what you do. It's going to be action. So I want you to use the key ideas you picked up here today, and I want you to take advantage of all the knowledge. I mean, I don't know if you've been to that the Exhibitor Solutions Center on the website, but if you haven't, you are missing a doozy. That is a site that you're not only going to want to bookmark, as you can see the link here, but you're also going to want to share with everybody in your company, and you're going to want to visit there frequently. Okay, so what I'm going to do here is now go ahead and take a look in our question queue. And as I do that, Lawrence, is there anything some final thoughts or comments that you want to share with me?
I just want to remind everybody to please take advantage of all the opportunities that we've got. We've taken a lot of time to invest in your success and in ways to make you more successful, starting with this webinar, which is the second time we've done it. And again, those who followed some of Jefferson's advice have really done better at not just our event, but at all events where they've been exhibiting. And to please really start out right away by getting those prospects and customer lists together so that we can really focus on inviting them on your behalf. And that's exactly what we will do, is it will be on your behalf because they are have had a relationship with you. They will be getting this stuff for free. So let us put you in the best light and let us help you get those meetings preset so that you can succeed even more at the event. Any questions that popped up there, Jefferson, from anyone?
Yeah, and I've got one here, and I'm going to take a swing at it, and then you may want to also. I've got a question: is why is sponsoring things at the show smart money? Not sure I buy into that. Let me share my take, and then Lawrence, you can give your take. Sponsorships are, like any marketing media that you select should support whatever your primary marketing objectives are for. For example, if awareness and visibility, becoming more visible, increasing awareness. If, being seen as a player, as being seen as a leader, okay, this is where sponsoring things absolutely help with visibility. They help with awareness. There's also some CEIR research that has found that sponsorships also help increase qualified booth traffic. Okay?
Hey, Jefferson, can you just explain to everybody what CEIR is, so for those who aren't aware of it?
Yes, thank you. That's the Center for Exhibition Industry Research, and you could go to CEIR.org, and it's basically the data house, the data storage house for our industry, and it contains all the studies and research that's been done. But once again, sponsorships are about visibility, or about awareness, or about leadership position, sometimes thought leadership position. They help drive booth traffic, and they help position you as a visible, credible player in the industry. Lawrence, what would you add to that?
Yeah, I would take it one step further, because to answer whoever's question that was, sponsorships can be phenomenal or they can be horrible. It all depends on exactly what you're trying to accomplish, and it's one of the pet peeves that we have here. We believe that we need to have a discussion to understand what it is you're trying to accomplish through the sponsorship, and then figure out the means to accomplish that goal. If you just willy-nilly say, hey, I'm going to throw money into sponsorship with no rhyme or reason behind it, then chances are probably better than 50-50 that you're going to, I don't want to say waste that money, but it's not going to be able to achieve or point to the ROI that you need to. By developing a strategic plan for your sponsorship, you're able to line all of the items up and all of the action items and all of the, for lack of a better word, nuts and bolts that go into the sponsorship will align with the strategy to accomplish what you're trying to do. Then we can measure the metrics and the ROI on it and show you exactly how that sponsorship did work and did achieve your goals and did exceed or achieve your ROI. We're a very strong believer in sponsorships. We're a very strong believer in customizing sponsorships and looking at sponsorships to enhance your visibility, to enhance traffic generation, to put you in thought leadership position. There are ways to position a sponsorship program inexpensively. There's also ways to do it expensively, of course, but inexpensively that will enable you to succeed and further your goals. So the first step is absolutely identifying the goals and the strategy behind the sponsorship, then figuring out what sponsorship you want to do. If you just go willy-nilly and just do it, you're running it's like throwing darts blindfolded. You may or you may not hit the target. But think about it before you do it. And for those who are interested, we'd love to talk with you about them. We've got a number of different sponsors throughout the event for different reasons, and we'd love to create a program that really hits your goals and your strategies. So I don't want to keep on going on as we've exceeded the hour here.
Okay,
but, that's where I would fall in.
Hey, that was well said, and metrics are important. It's all about putting a sponsorship together. It supports. Final question, and we're going to log off. Do you limit pre-attendee information based on sponsorship levels, meaning at different levels you get email only, address, telephone?
Yes, our platinum sponsors receive full contact details, which includes phone and email. Everybody else receives mailing addresses once they fill out the forms. And those are only on the opt-in email. So attendees can opt out, and nobody gets that opportunity. But it is limited to just the couple of platinum sponsors that are there in terms of getting the email and phone number. But every single exhibitor will have the opportunity at no charge to receive an Excel file with the pre- and post-show attendee, again, with name, company, title, and mailing address. Wow. So you will have the chance to audit and evaluate exactly who we say is going to be there. We want to make sure we're transparent and upfront with you on every single aspect of the show, including exactly who's there. Many shows that are out there won't do that with you, or for whatever reason don't do that. We've taken a completely 180-degree different viewpoint in that we want you to be successful. We want to do what we can do to make you successful, obviously within reason. By giving out the email addresses, we've seen other events get bombarded by the attendees with complaints about that, which is why we limit who those go to, and we limit how many they can send out as well. So we are very cautious and conscientious about that, but we do want to do what we can do to make you successful, to allow you to help you close sales faster, and again, achieve those goals and the strategies that you've set forth as the reason for doing the show. So anybody who's interested in talking about this more, again, absolutely, please email me, Lawrence@jdevents.com, and I'll be happy to set up a time to talk with you and to run through it.
Oh, all right, Lawrence, thank you. Hey, by the way, Lawrence is right. Most shows, to get the pre- and the post-show attendee mailing list, you could be paying anywhere from $600 to $1,000. So you get that free. So that's a real value add. So we are out of time. From my side, Competitive Edge, Jefferson, I want to thank everybody for logging in. There's a lot of exhibitors that should be here, but you are here. That tells me that you're continuing to learn and grow. Keep learning, keep growing, because as much as you know about exhibiting and as much as I know about exhibiting, the game is changing every single day. So stay tuned in. The most important thing I close with is it's not what you heard, it's what you do. Take the ideas that make sense, use them, and if you will, I close my piece of this not by wishing you a better customer engagement technology world. If you act on what we talked about here, I guarantee you will have a better show. So Lawrence, back to you for closing comments.
I just wanted to thank everybody again. And again, if you've got questions, please feel free to email me, Lawrence@jdevents.com, or Melissa. Again, Melissa@jdevents.com. Be happy to talk with you about any and all questions you might have, questions about this webinar, about the show, about ways to take advantage of these free opportunities we've got, and about any ideas that we might have a conversation about making it more successful for you. So thank you from all of us. Good luck. And again, we are here to help make your event more successful. Please ask us any questions you've got, and we will answer them to the best of our abilities. Everybody have a wonderful day, and thank you very much. Look forward to seeing you next month.